Got less than a month until test day? These tips are for you. Erika here with Target Test Prep, and today I want to share with you 3 ways to improve your GRE score fast, and I'm going to do it by sharing 3 real stories from 3 of my real students. The first way to improve your GRE score fast is to land on a timing strategy that works. This is a good one for you if you ever find yourself rushing at the end of a section, or worse, not finishing it at all. If you've watched my video on the 7 GRE mistakes you cannot make, then you know that with the GRE super short sections, getting even a couple additional questions wrong, whether because you rushed through them or because you simply didn't get to them, can be hugely impactful to your score. And you know that this is especially true on the extra short first section, where even one additional wrong question can resign you to a lower difficulty second section, and thus a lower potential score range. But the flip side of that is that addressing your timing issues can radically improve your score. Now, there are a lot of different time management strategies, but at the core of all of them is the same thing: strategically moving on. On the GRE, this means identifying when you're spinning your wheels on a question, flagging and putting in a guess as quickly as possible, and instead investing your time in questions you are more likely to get right. Now, when you've given all the questions in a section a fair shake, you can use review to revisit any of the questions that you flagged, and at that point, you might get it right. Or you might still get it wrong, but without having sacrificed any additional questions to the cause. My example student for this one came to me with a pretty average test score. As I like to do in my first session with students, we started by diagnosing his most recent practice test, where it became clear that even though he had a very high accuracy for the problems he completed, he wasn't completing all the problems in each section. We spent the rest of the session talking about the test algorithm and various time management strategies, and I sent him home with the directive to first do short-timed practice sets to get a feel for the exam's pace, and then to take another practice test with the goal of keeping his timing on track throughout the section and finishing each one on time. We met 2 weeks later, and he shared with me a practice test score that was 20 percentile points higher. 20 in 2 weeks. There is nothing else that can bump your score this dramatically, this quickly. So if timing is an issue for you, it should be priority number 1 to address. The second way to improve your score fast is to address a single content area. If you're just a month out from your test, there simply isn't enough time to learn and internalize everything on the test. But while you can't learn everything in a month, you can learn one thing. Now, for this to make a significant difference to your score, it can't just be any one thing. It has to be a particular area of weakness, encompassing the easiest questions you're getting wrong. Now, part of the reason for this is that the easiest concepts you're struggling with are typically the simplest to address. But additionally, if you're already an above average scorer, the easiest questions you're getting wrong are likely to appear in the first section and could be the difference between getting a medium and hard second section. The example student here already had a top quartile score, but she really wanted to be in the top 10 percentiles. We had 3 tutoring sessions total. In the first session, we reviewed her most recent practice test and identified that she was consistently getting combinations and permutations questions wrong. We finished the session with a quick primer on the basics, and she went home with more material and some relevant practice questions. In the second session, we reviewed the problems she worked on, talked through her mistakes, and went into some of the complexities of combinatorics. I sent her home with a practice test. In the third session, she came in with a 98th percentile practice test score. She ended up with a 99th percentile score on test day. One content area can make or break your score, especially at the upper end of the score range. So while a month isn't enough time to learn everything, focusing your attention on the right one thing can yield huge results before test day. The third way to improve your score fast is to make a personalized strategy guide. I recommend this to literally all of my students, regardless of their score goals or how close they are to them. I'll jump straight into the example with this one. This example student came to me having taken their exam 5 times. And I'm not talking practice exams, the real thing. 5 times. He'd gone through multiple books of practice questions multiple times and plateaued with a below average test score. Deadlines were coming up, and he didn't have long before his next test attempt, so we really only made one change. He started an error log. For each problem, I encouraged him to carefully consider and log what went wrong, why it went wrong, and how he could identify the issue and avoid it next time. He error logged his most recent practice test and continued to error log the practice I assigned over the next couple weeks. Before test day, I had him go through all of the hows in his error log and pick out the top 10 to 20 things that came up the most, creating a perfectly personalized strategy guide that he could review in the run-up to his exam. He reached out to me after his 6th and final test, having broken through his plateau and reached his score goal. Just like any content you learn close to your test day should be based on your performance, the strategies you focus on implementing and internalizing should be personal as well. Error logging is an extremely powerful tool for customizing your whole study process, and turning your takeaways into a personalized strategy guide at the end of that process is the best way to synthesize all of that prep and turn it into action on test day. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos from me every Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.